Hello there, my darling, fragrant, fabulous dragon friends. My name is Ariel. I am the Sassy Dragon, and today we are going to be checking out the difference between the original Valentino Donna born in Roma Eau de Parfum and the newest flanker of this fragrance, the Valentino born in Roma Intense. Both of these are an EDP. And I did test these the other night, so it's not a completely blind buy. I actually have had the original for some years now. I just got the Intense. I did a side-by-side test, sprayed one on one arm, one on the other, so that I could really get a sense of what the dry down is like, because I really wanted to give you a more thorough analysis of how this one wears, in my opinion. I'm going to tell you right off from the start, when it comes to which one I like the best, the original is the absolute winner. It is so much nicer, so much more fulfilling. It just has a better blend, better notes in my opinion, whereas I will give you all the details on why I think the Intense version is rather lacking. So the original Valentino born in Roma EDP was created in 2019 with top notes of black currant, which is a favorite of mine, pink pepper, and bergamot. The middle notes were jasmine, jasmine sambac, and green jasmine tea. So it had a very, very strong heart of jasmine notes, but the base notes were the bourbon, vanilla, cashmeran, and gaiac wood. I personally think the vanilla really shines in this, as does the black currant. I get a very, very strong berry vanilla energy from this, very strong vibe on that. And I'm just going to spray this so I can remind myself again. Yes. Okay, so definitely. I mean, these are strong, and I've had some people say that this doesn't last long on them, but I'm going to say this is one of the strongest fragrances I have in my collection. It is very, very long lasting. I do quite like it. I've used maybe about half of the bottle, almost half the bottle, but it's not one that I reach for a lot because it is rather loud. It's very strong to me. It's fruity, it's peppery, it's definitely got the jasmine, but to me that's not what punches the strongest when I'm wearing it. The things that come out the strongest are the black currant, the fruity notes in the top, and that bourbon vanilla, which is very strong in the dry down. It's actually one of my favorite parts of it. I am a sucker for anything with a jasmine tea scent in it or a note in there, so this is definitely another reason why I really, really enjoy that one. I looked for the person or people who created this fragrance, and it's not mentioned on the Fragrantica site, which is where I pull all of my info for my notes. I'll leave some links below in the description box for y'all. But I couldn't find out who was the nose or perfumers behind this scent. So if you know, please mention it down below in the comments. So on the Intense version, all right, guys, I was really pretty disappointed with this one, I'll say. And I don't often say that about a perfume. The biggest reason, I'm going to spray it again. I'm not going to spray it on myself because I did not like the dry down at all. It was actually one of the worst dry downs I've smelled like ever. I hate to say that about anything, but because I know there's probably some folks. This one is so unusual when you first smell it. It has almost nothing in common at first sniff. Oh no. It smells so different to me. The original, you get the berries, you get a full kind of, it comes out with all of it very quickly. After the initial blast, you really get all those notes kind of hitting you in different waves for sure. But with the Intense, it's funny because it's not as strong to me when it first comes out. I mostly smell a vanilla with a slight coconutty feeling to it, which is not at all what's in the notes. So this fragrance was just launched here for this year, 2023. It was created by Amandine Clerc-Marie and Honorine Blanc. Neither of them have worked on any of my major favorites. There's just a few that I was kind of like, yeah, one of these ladies worked on Mugler Aura, which is a very controversial fragrance. Some people really love it, some people really hate it, kind of thing. I really love the bourbon vanilla in it, but this doesn't have quite the same amazing sweetness. It does have longevity. It stuck around with me for a long time. So the top notes on this are bourbon vanilla with the amber mixed together. The middle note is a jasmine and the base note is a benzoin. The notes that are listed on Fragrantica for the Roma Intense are much more simplistic, whereas with this one you have, you know, a good number. You have about 9 or 10 different notes, whereas this one is only listing really 4. So it's much more simplistic. It definitely has the jasmine, but it's not as nicely blended as it is in the original. I usually like benzoin quite a lot, and I feel like there's something else in there because it's almost bordering just a touch, not strongly, but on that kind of pickly note that can come out. It's that sour kind of, it's usually along with some woods, some kind of woodsy scent. But with this, it's getting that tiny bit of that, and I really, really don't like that. When I sense that in a fragrance, it's just off-putting for me. And I'm not really getting a lot of the amber. That's kind of the most surprising part of this. The vanilla is very strong, but instead of like a really nice, warm, kind of resinous, you know, what I think of always as a classic amber, I'm not getting so much of that. Maybe just a little. But to my nose, what I'm getting more is like especially when I first spray it, it has a coconut smell, which is really strange because that's not listed in the notes. The thing that happens though, and it's not an unpleasant scent, I just don't find it to be really unique or necessary. It's, you know, to me there are better vanillic based scents than this that are less expensive and just wear a lot nicer. I will say that the vanilla is similar. That's the only thing that really is similar at all to the original, is it's a very similar, probably the same vanilla that they're using here. So that's the only thing. It's almost as if they took all the berries, you know, 2/3 of the jasmines out of this and took all the fruitiness out. You know, there's no fruity notes at all, and just made this without that. And we're just like, here, let's just pare it down and give you just a plain old vanilla with a little jasmine and some benzoin and amber in the base. But what happens to this, and I will say I have decent chemistry, most perfumes don't end up pulling strange with my chemistry. They usually stay pretty true to what came out of the bottle. But the dry down on this is one of the worst things I've ever smelled in a perfume. Definitely as of late. I cannot think of anything that has been just that at the end. After maybe 2 or 3 hours, it takes a little while to get to the dry down for, you know, for it on your arm, but it just smells bad. I don't even know quite how to describe it. It's just, it's not like body odor. It's not like, it just doesn't smell good. That's all I know how to say. And it might be different for everybody. Hopefully if you enjoy and love this scent, you know, it doesn't do that to you. But on my chemistry, and I was looking at a few of the comments on this one, I'm gonna say it just did not smell good at all. Like, I did not enjoy the dry down on it. So I would say if you have the original and already love it, you definitely don't need this new one. And if you're looking for just a good like woodsy vanilla, there's plenty of other good options, such as like the Kayali Vanilla 28. It's a really popular one that to me smells like a cedarwood vanilla. You know, there's just a lot of other vanillic scents out there. I mean, even the fragrance, the old Body Shop vanilla, right? Because I love vanilla. I always have. I've loved fragrances that have it. So if I don't really love it and it's a vanilla-based scent, then that's saying something. But that dry down, I just could not get myself around it. So definitely stick with the original. And I will also say that another fragrance that's, you know, unrelated to the original, but I find myself reaching for it a little bit more. Say maybe there's certain things about the original Valentino Born in Roma that you don't really like, and maybe you're looking for something that's similar but different. I'm going to push this one out here. I haven't done an individual review of it, but the Miss Dior Absolutely Blooming is absolutely gorgeous to me. I really love it, and it gives me a little bit of the same vibe And the reason for that is it has a top note of black currant, just like the Valentino. So it's got that really fruity, nice, you know, strong top. It has a very nice floral middle with the rose peony, has a white musk base. But instead of all those jasmines, you're getting more fruits because it also has raspberry and pomegranate and the pink pepper. So it doesn't have the jasmine, doesn't have that strong vanilla, but there's something about it that gives me a similar feeling, if that makes sense. And I honestly would say that I like this one a little bit more. It's definitely rosier, but still with that pepper, the black currant. It's just a little juicier and maybe not quite as loud, even though it is still very strong, and it's one of my best when it comes to longevity out of my collection. That one will last all day, just like the Valentino does on me. So I hope that you enjoyed this review, guys. Thank you as always so much for coming by. I always appreciate hanging out with you and sharing thoughts on fragrances. Tell me what you think. Have you smelled both of these? What is your favorite about the original Valentino or the Intense? Hopefully you enjoy one of these or some of these, and I will be talking to you soon. Take care.